Because recently I was telling the kids, my last born, to do something, and he said no. My older 3 kids stand like, what? Then everyone looked at me like, this one is dead type of thing.
I know.
And then when I was start talking to him, they were like, my daughter was like, aha, mommy, if it were me who had said no like that type thing. And I understood her. And that's what ends up happening.
Kids these days are a nuisance. Honestly.
So
You see a kid
they're
slapping them. I've never seen that in
yes.
my life.
Are you serious?
On TVs where I've seen it. But even
My son,
but even when
my
we were
oldest,
younger,
my oldest slapped me once in public.
my God.
We were at a clinic and he was sick and he had been acting up and disrupting everyone. And I was trying to tell him, settle down, keep quiet. And he gave me the hottest slap. Like everyone was like,
That is where the
like
fear
silence.
of God comes down.
Like silence, like a pin.
What do
You
you
could hear a
mean?
pin drop because the clinic was full and
He was
everyone.
3.
He was 3, not quite 3, was like 2.5.
Terrible twos.
Yes.
I think parents also need to do a lot of
Deep
therapy.
work. Deep work, yeah.
Therapy. Need to seek out help. Work on all the traumas you have from childhood. Deal with all your issues. So that when you become a parent, you're more wholesome. Really, you don't need to beat a kid like they've stolen or like they've
Your
killed
child.
someone.
Yeah, because there are times when, honestly, I've caught myself after punishing or after chappering where I sit with myself and I'm like, actually, this didn't deserve all of that rage.
Me too.
This week we're going to speak about gentle parenting. We've been seeing very many videos on social media with kids throwing tantrums in public places, slapping parents. And usually people talk in the comment sections, they're always making fun of those people and they blame it on gentle parenting. So I want to explore what it's about and maybe examine the different methods people use. Yes. So, ladies, have you been seeing these videos?
Yes, I've seen them. I've seen there's a particular one that stood out to me. It was of a girl who looked like she was about, 11 years old, throwing herself on the ground at the airport. She was demanding, I think, was it a snack or a drink? I don't remember. But yeah, and there are many more like that. So I think we've definitely seen them.
Yeah, I enjoy those comments down. They're like, if it was my parent.
If it was in our time.
If it were
Actually,
me, especially the Nigerian, the pigeon
This
ones.
particular one, yeah. This particular one was followed by that lady who calls herself, I think, Oyimbo something. And she was talking about how that child would have just been basically handled until she blacked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've all seen some form or other where we all stop and say, when did it come to this?
I know.
So I think for us, we're in a different age of parenting.
Yeah.
We grew up in a time where it was all about getting beaten, put in line. Some parents would tell you, I'm going to take you back where I got you from, you know? But us millennials, I think we approach parenting differently. We want to have our children to be able to approach us, talk to us.
To give them a voice.
To give
Because
them
I
a
think
voice.
a lot of us were raised with a child is seen and not heard. Yeah.
So first, we want to create the space where they can be themselves. They can tell you what's on their mind. Give them the opportunity to have a conversation.
I definitely want to raise my children to be brave enough to speak, to even have that inner voice for themselves where it's not my voice they're hearing. But also, man, now like when you watch those videos and you see a moment where a parent now should come in and handle a situation, and by handle I don't mean, because a lot of us are triggered by such things, because then it's like, why aren't they chappering her? Why isn't that child getting, beaten? But I feel like between gentle parenting and the extreme,
There's a middle
there should be a
ground.
middle ground.
Mhm.
But first and foremost, for those who don't know, me, I'm sorry, I'm a nerd who likes to research, so I'm going to read. For anyone who might be wondering, this gentle parenting thing, we all have an idea, but what is it actually? So, gentle parenting is an empathetic, non punitive approach to raising children that prioritizes connection, understanding, and firm boundaries over obedience, punishment, or rewards. So it focuses on validating emotions and modeling appropriate behavior and fostering secure, independent children rather than using harsh discipline or controlling fear-based tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with the rise of mental health as an issue,
Yes.
that's where gentle parenting comes in.
Comes
You
in.
want to raise mentally resilient children, but you just want to raise children who are disciplined, who respect people around them, you know? So striking that balance, as you're saying, is critical. But
Do you
sometimes
think
I
we
catch
millennials are
myself.
mentally resilient?
Who?
Do you think millennials that we are mentally resilient?
The research is yet to be done. I don't know. I have no answer for that. But personally, as a parent, I catch myself in situations where I'm like, what do I do? You know that Bible verse, spare the rod and spoil the child?
I think a lot of us struggle.
I struggle.
Mm.
And in the beginning, I found myself doing a lot of the rod,
Mm.
and I had to pull back and talk to myself because I want to raise children who are confident. And I believe the rod strips away their confidence.
Sometimes I feel like because now for us, the way we grew up, we're different kids and we're raised different.
Mm.
I can say for a fact that my mom beat me many times for everything actually. Visiting the neighbors, staying, playing too late. Yeah, I was beaten, but I got to a point and I was used. And us we are prayerful. So they'll beat me with slippers. I was like, slipper nkazhamkama. That is like nkazherezamkama. That's like I
gave it
gave
up to
slippers
God.
over to the Lord, like slippers over to the Lord. Sandals, those are like sandals, right? Yeah, so I got used to it.
What on in TikTok they call chancla? Do they call it
Hey.
chancla?
I don't know.
So I got used to it. So of course, every time you get used to something, they now level it up. But I don't know, that was my mom. My dad never beat me even once. And for some reason, I don't know if it's a personality thing. We're different. Like I am still more open with my mom because my dad had different ways of disciplining.
Dads had that authority.
Yes, he had
I think for a
authority
lot of
that was
us,
different.
dads were not coming in a lot when it came to discipline, but the threat of I'm going to tell daddy usually
Was enough
settled
Yeah.
you
to humble
down.
you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to come in that daily discipline like the way moms. And there's something called parental deafness, which I learned like later on when I was starting to struggle with my own children, where I feel like moms, I think Bambi tend to lean to that because you get to a point where you feel like you're not being heard by your children. You're there, the familiarity. So when you get a lot of us, for example, me, I struggled when I got to that point because then I feel like if they're not hearing me, then I need to enforce. That's
The
when
fear of
that's
God on them.
yes. So I think that was that struggle that you talked about. I think a lot of us get to that point where they're not quite babies. They're now coming into their own and they have their own opinions. And for me, you people, for me, can you imagine? It had never clicked in my mind that this is a whole separate human until my oldest was like 3 and really pushing back. And then something just clicked. I think it's something that I either read because I was really struggling, and it clicked that this is a whole different entity separate from me who is trying to assert themselves in their individuality and draw boundaries for themselves. And I remember that thing really hitting me hard because first time parent, everything was a fast. So I had never had that moment of clarity. Yeah. And when I got it, I remember feeling pride in him for standing up for himself, much as it was against me. But I remember feeling that pride and having that aha moment, like, oh, actually, this is not just me coming down. There needs to be communication and understanding between us, not just him receiving my understanding. It was a defining moment for me. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
No.
So where do we draw the line between how our parents raised us, which was borderline abuse? That beating was not normal in some homes.
Militant.
It was militant.
But I can't imagine how I would have turned out without it. Maybe I'm conditioned and my mind needs to do a switch.
Yeah, because now you're talking about balance, because
Yes.
kids these days are a nuisance. Honestly.
So
You see a
they're-
kid slapping them. I've never seen that in
Yes.
my life.
Are you serious?
On TVs where I've seen it. But even
my son,
but even when
my
we were
oldest-
younger,
my oldest slapped me once in public.
my God.
We were at a clinic and he was sick and he had been acting up and disrupting everyone. And I was trying to tell him, settle down, keep quiet. And he gave me the hottest slap. Like everyone was like,
That is where the
like
fear
silence.
of God comes down.
Like silence, like a pin.
What do
You
you
could hear a
mean?
pin drop because the clinic was full and
He was
everyone.
3.
He was 3, not quite 3, was like 2.5.
Terrible twos.
Yes. And I remember everyone, you know, like how you feel head swivel, like that movie moment, and everyone turned and you could hear a pin drop. So my first instinct was to slap him back. But then something in my head was like, he's sick. He's sick. You can't hit a sick child. So then I remember I was like, but then if you don't define this moment where he will know that you can never
do that.
So I remember I just held him. Then he stopped because he slapped first and he wanted to try again. So I remember holding him. I lifted him and put him away from me and got up and walked away and went outside. And he was trying to follow me and another mom grabbed him and held him and said, leave mommy alone. I don't know who that lady was. We never even spoke.
Wow.
But I remember her and I'm so grateful to her because I needed to walk away. Because, like you said, my first instinct was, I am going to put the fear of Jesus in you.
Yeah.
So I needed that moment to walk away. And then when I came back, then he started to now cry for me. That thing children do. So when I came back, I was like, never, ever do that again.
But I think the trouble with that age is that they are trying to regulate their own emotions.
Exactly.
They don't know how to.
They don't know how to.
So you're
Big
the one to give them
feelings,
those tools.
you need to be also regulated
Yes.
so that they can, yeah.
But it's also so interesting because I feel like kids are kids, right? But there's some kids that for sure are out of hand. And others that are
absolutely.
too.
I think we've all been
So I
around
think
children
it's,
who
I don't
we
know
see
if the
taking
problem,
a
I've
piece.
seen like movies where the kid is beating someone and they say, no, let him express themselves. And expressing yourself is
Or
okay.
someone else.
But when you're stealing someone else's peace,
Hey.
because you know there are parents that are tough. Back then, I think everyone had the right to discipline your child, right?
Yeah.
So we're disciplined
It was
by
a village.
We
You were
were
being
disciplined
raised.
by maids, we're disciplined by neighbors, we're disciplined. Like everywhere you went, you were watched.
Yeah.
You knew that you had to be on your best behavior.
And if you were all in trouble in a different home and people were getting chappered, all of you were getting chappered collectively.
I know.
Yeah.
True.
Collectively.
But these days,
Was
These
it a good
days-
thing?
I believe it was because I'll tell you a situation. There is this one time where my siblings were fighting. My older sister, my younger brother were really fighting. And it got to a point where the fight went to the gate and was going outside the gate. Now, a lady who lived in the neighborhood, we used to call all of them auntie, was driving by. And I remember she saw parked her car and came out and she was like, I am going to beat you people if you don't go back inside that gate. Now, try and imagine that in a scenario now like today where you see and you're like, well, whose children are those? And you drive on. Meanwhile, you're of the neighborhood. So in many ways, for children like us who are outside, there's a lot of social media things that I see where they say children of the 80s grew up outside. You went out in the morning and came back when the sky was dark. So that neighborhood thing helped because other people were able to be your eyes and ears where your children were concerned, where mommy was away working or daddy was away working. So it was a good thing. Now, these days, you can't even offer someone's child a snack without asking permission.
True. What has changed?
But even I think the parents
I
themselves,
think
because of the trauma,
self-awareness, yeah.
they have become very, now that, everything goes in, I feel like all these movements always move in extremes.
Extremes, that's true.
So you start out trying to do something good and you end up doing the reverse.
Yeah.
There's
Because also there's one would argue, why give all those people access to your child? Someone who doesn't
Exactly.
have good intentions
that you
take
don't know.
advantage
can take
of a
advantage of
situation.
that.
Yeah, but it also, because for us, the way we grew up, for sure, I remember there's a time I was as a child and I drove a bicycle. I was learning how to drive, but I didn't know how to turn.
Right.
Like when you're entering the road, because you have to go down the road to enter So I drove almost into a car.
Wow.
I mean, I rode almost into a car and then turned off, and the maid saw me. She was like, she beat me.
The maid.
She really beat me. She was like, if you had died, and
What
you
was I going to
imagine
say?
if I had gotten knocked, who would have been,
To blame.
they would have questioned her.
Yeah.
So sometimes I always wonder, and some kids, I feel like, okay, some parents used to beat kids with anger. Like maybe like you're frustrated with your husband and you lash out at the child, because there's some,
A lot of that.
yeah. So I used to hear,
a lot of adults walking around unregulated because they had never seen it. I think even learning this thing of self-regulation came.
It's like a new
It's a new
concept.
thing.
yeah. So I feel like for sometimes, because my mom, the way she would do it, especially now for like my lead, because me, when I was living my life, I did notice those patterns. But I saw with my sister, she would tell her, what have you done? She's like, bring me a stick. How many do you want? And my goodness, the crying, the bargaining that happens in that moment is amazing. So
remember, I think
so
also-
this is not to promote
Child abuse.
beating children or child abuse. I feel like every parent, I think, has to have the autonomy to decide.
But also, I remember something that started to happen later on as we were just a little bit older, like primary school. When mommy was chaperoning you, she would make sure you understood why you were being beaten. Like, why am I beating you? And then they beat you. Repeat, why am I beating you? So I think they had that thing where they needed you to understand that this
The
is happening
reason.
because of this and this and this, and I shouldn't. So then, of course, there were also those moments where you'd get punished or beaten, and you're like, this wasn't about me. Even as a child, you would feel like there was something else. You know, those moments, those dramatic moments as children where you're like, are you even my mommy would beating me like that?
I know.
So what you just said, I think, is very important. How, by the time you're punishing, have you regulated yourself? I think that should be the difference for you to even decide what punishment is suitable for this situation. Because also in village, you see people who don't know better. For whatever the child has done, if they've spilled, they are beaten like a thief. If they have run away from home, they are beaten the same way, like how you'd be beaten for a spill. If I saw a mom at church who had a little girl who was and I understood, probably new dress. She has been told don't, and then she spills soda on a brand new white dress. The chappers that were loaded on that child.
Imagine.
Yeah, but now from the mom's point of view, you don't know what she has done to get that company to buy that dress. So for her, she's seeing this dress probably is going to be worn by you. It's going to be worn by you, however many siblings after you. It's a new dress. I'm not even thinking of washing it probably today. I'm planning that it's going to be worn and then maybe kept so that we preserve the newness. So she's reacting also from so many other feelings behind. But then from a person who knows better now, like from me, I'm thinking, it's a child. It's a spill.
Yeah.
Maybe
that
a talk.
serious.
Yeah, maybe a talk like, you see you're making
Or a
yourself
threat.
dirty.
I know they used to threaten us.
Yeah,
I'll beat you.
like
And they never beat you.
You're ruining your dress. It's a new dress. Don't you want to look nice? But you see, even me, when I've been, especially when I was in the season of having my children, as having newborns, and you also have toddlers, and I had extreme reactions. So on my end, I also know that a lot of reactions that I had, that rage that even me used to scare me, was from exhaustion, frustration, lack of support, lack of sleep. So I wasn't reacting as just myself. I wasn't myself.
Your nervous system was not
regulated at all.
There are also those punishments, yeah, that are too general. Like I feel like sometimes back in the day, right now even we're talking, even I think from the way what is it called? We were brought up. When we think punishment, we think beating. Like that's the first thing that
It was
comes to
one
mind,
punishment
right?
fits all.
Yes.
That's
So,
what I was
but there are
saying
some
of.
things I think, like a kid failing math. You beat them, and then what
And then
happens?
what?
A kid got pregnant. You beat
Yeah.
them, and then what happens?
There are places
Sometimes
where honestly it doesn't make sense.
sometimes I think on top of deciding how, like you need to decide on the kind of punishment you give, like what punishment. Sometimes the
And that
talk.
comes from yourself being regulated.
Yeah.
And I think parents also need to do a lot of
Deep
therapy.
work, yeah.
Therapy. Need to seek out help. Work on all the traumas you have from childhood. Deal with all your issues. So that when you become a parent, you're more wholesome. Really, you don't need to beat a kid like they've stolen or like they've
Your
killed
child.
someone.
Yeah, because there are times when honestly I've caught myself after punishing or after chappering where I sit with myself and I'm like, actually, this didn't deserve all of that rage.
Me too.
Like
And for me,
that is something that was unresolved in me.
when I came to that realization, I made a deal with myself that I'll not chapper my kids again.
Yeah.
I believe in conversation, talking to them, engaging them. That's more effective than beating.
As you guys, recently, my siblings now old. There's a time my sister was never, like, of course, now as a bigger sister. Of course, I can't fight grown women. But I would be like, there's things she would do, going out, coming. And I would look at the mom and I'd be like,
What's up?
are we seeing this together?
My sister used to say, she used to tell my mom, I went out and came back at the same time as like my brother that follows her. He got a serious talking to. I got more severe action. How come? She's like, she used to say, I want that same militant anger that you used to have to also pass down. Like, let it be. But of course, as you continue on your parenting journey, and I've seen it with myself, you start to reason things out. You start to now look at fairness. You start to, when that overwhelm of Banange, all of these people are so many, you start to reason and unfortunately, the older child who maybe got the brunt of the
The
you that
parenting.
was still learning is looking at you like, really?
Yeah.
Like, if I had done that, consequences. You've seen those videos of firstborn child when they refuse to do something, when they're told to do something, the response is immediate obedience. Second-born child, they'll look at you like, for them, they're going to finesse their way out of it. Third-born is going to be outright, no.
The middle child
Yeah, they get bolder.
or the
Yeah.
last
The
born.
last-born is always, no. And there's no explanation, and there's no
That's
guilt, and
it.
there's no, that's it.
Yeah. I guess even the parents, you get tired.
Not
You're not
tired,
shocked by that.
not tired, but you go through, you start to really think about how you're punishing, why you're punishing. Does this deserve the same punishment? And unfortunately, the you that was punishing anyhow before with your first child has conditioned that first child to obedience. And the you that is now thinking more, what is the word? Thinking through things
Diplomatic.
more. Yeah. Now that's how your last born ends up being the one who's like, because recently I was telling the kids, my last born, to do something, and he said no. My older three kids stand like, what? Then everyone looked at me like, this one is dead type of thing.
I know.
And then when I was start talking to him, they were like, my daughter was like, aha, mommy, if it were me who had said no like that type thing. And I understood her. And that's what ends up happening. So when you say that you've seen how your sister will be acting and you look and you're like,
I was like, can you please go back to the
Hand
way you were for just today?
Yes.
Yeah, but also now let's talk about
Have you
like
seen those videos of firstborns stepping in for the parent when the parent is being too lenient? I've seen the video
of trying to
of a kid who
medicine.
was trying to take medicine.
Yeah.
Another one was they were going to school and they were telling them to get into the car, but the mom was get in, you're going to be late. A big sister came and lifted like this and threw inside the car, got the bag, tossed it inside.
Yeah.
Slammed the door, said, let's go. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, if I think naturally big sisters, we are like co-parents for sure. I have my young brother. I've chapered a day a few times.
What do you guys think about now? We've seen so many of those videos, but now the more that I see, I start to judge the people who are recording these children in that moment, because that is a very bad moment. It's like me having a meltdown, and the first thing they do is to pick their camera to record.
No, because
my
they're overwhelmed.
meltdown.
Sometimes you're overwhelmed and you can't. Sometimes you report because usually now like maids. I've for sure seen kids that are out of hand, and of course the maid has no right. And all you can do is record that kid and say, "This is what was." It's like reporting
Okay,
with
record
evidence.
and show the parent. Record and post.
No, those are parents. Of course, it's not.
Yeah.
It's the parent. It's just
Okay, it has helped us. It has helped us see.
the shift.
See, I mean, some people record and you'll hear, like, there's a lady who recorded and said, you people see what gentle parenting has done for me. And her son, I think, was smashing a TV or something like that. And it's enlightening to us to see, to also learn and be like, okay, how gentle is gentle?
Yeah. But what I was talking about, like countries where the parents have no right. Like the road is for sure not an option. Even discipline. I know I have a friend that was moving to Canada, I think. I asked her, so because we were wary. Africans are wary of kids that grew up abroad. The discipline
Factor is
yeah,
usually,
like we're like, how do you discipline kids out there? Because first of all, the kids know their rights. They're going to report you. Some of them might lie and threaten you with it, and you don't want your kid to be taken away from you. So you find yourself in a position where you're like handicapped. You can't react. And then at the end of the day, the system is what catches up with your kids. Because now you have no voice. You have no say.
I was watching this interview that Ruth Kalibala did with Mommy Deb, and she said something that I don't say I necessarily support, but I appreciated and respected.
Yeah.
She was talking about her upbringing, and she said that their mom drew the boundary line and said, yes, we're in the UK. Inside these four walls called my home, we are in Uganda, we're in Africa, Tuli Kampala. Outside there is your UK, go and do whatever you want. But inside here, we're going to discipline like we're in Uganda. We're going to speak Luganda like we are in Uganda, like it's going to be home. So I feel like you can draw that boundary line. I know family that have done that move of calling police on their parents, but even when that happens, you still can sit down and make a decision for your child to understand. Do you want the system to take you away from me? Because I'm disciplining you out of love as your parent. Okay, I don't believe in corporal punishment.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to push for
Advocate
you must
for-
no. But there has to be respect, boundary, understanding that even with a punishment, I'm not doing it to gain control of you. I'm doing it to teach you something valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's also important for us as parents to understand that we are not God. We don't know it all. We're not always right.
True.
Sometimes we get it wrong.
True.
So that humility is important when we are dealing with our children. Sometimes your child can point out something that you've done wrong.
That's why
So it's
conversation
important
is good.
to come back to your child and repair,
Yeah.
admit when you're wrong,
Yeah.
apologize when you've made
It's
a
very
mistake.
important,
It's
Yeah.
important. Our parents didn't have that language.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
They
Sorry.
were always right, even when they realized they were wrong. Never to apologize.
But sometimes I'd bribe you, take you out.
Sometimes you would get an apology that is not in words.
not in
Yeah.
Verbal.
Yeah.
It's important to verbalize the apology.
Yes.
Sometimes
it's
And
very
to admit,
important.
I like to tell my children that on this journey we are both learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And even when I've yelled, when I've lost my temper, especially when I lose my temper, I go back and I tell them, actually, I'm trying to teach you that losing your temper is not the way to go, but I lost my temper. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Tell them that was wrong. I like to, because when these children grow up, they'll challenge you, and these children are smart.
They're smart.
Because you can't be teaching, don't lose your temper, and you lose your temper and think that doesn't deserve a conversation.
Yeah. But
yeah,
also,
they hold you accountable.
Yeah. But also sometimes, like now that I'm older, there are kids that used to act out in school. And then when you're older, you hear stories that it wasn't settled at home. They
Mm.
were seeing violence at
Something,
home,
yeah.
for
Yeah.
instance. There was
Also,
chaos
that
at
thing
home, so they were
of
modeling what they saw.
yeah.
Or
Also,
they were
that thing with that interview that Wanda Jr. did with the young man Joshua
yeah.
Eliezer. Something that I saw was the parents was so keen. I don't know if it was being keen on discipline,
They were too busy.
or it was
even.
fear. Oh, I don't know what it was. I can't speak for them and I can't judge because as a parent, I know how tough it is. But if you do not try, like Samantha said, to have that communication line open, you're going to miss so much that your child could actually tell you that they're struggling with because they are so afraid, or they just feel unheard and they know, "Ah, even if I talk, I won't be heard."
Hard.
Yeah.
So that communication needs to be there. But the boundary line also has to be there.
Yes.
You know, I've seen people whose children jump on people, they do things. I saw something where a child spilled a drink on someone. And like that thing you mentioned, the mother was like, yeah, he's in a phase of expressing himself. And I was like, wow, where does the boundary line fall? In expressing yourself, are you disrespecting another person? Are you
Encroaching
treating
on someone's rights.
someone else's peace? Yeah. So what is the middle ground? Gentle parenting has its good intention. And then the extreme, what is the extreme? Militant.
Disciplinarians.
But also, can you be like? I feel like we always say gentle parenting, opposite beating, but maybe the actual tools. Well, how can you discipline your child?
Having conversations, talking to them, engaging them, telling them what is right, role modeling what you want to see in them.
So, okay, in a scenario where, for example, a child is acting out and you haven't yet gotten to the core, I think what Amanda is asking, when a child is acting out and you're not getting to the core of what is happening, but they're acting out even with the talks, even with coming back to the table to talk like several times, you're still getting the disrespect, you're getting doors slammed, you're getting someone yelling, you're getting someone leaving and disappearing, and you're worried.
Do you think good cup, bad cup works? Does it work? You
There are
guys
different
Some
tools. There are
people swear
different
by
tools.
it.
Yeah.
Some
For
couples
me, I'm
swear by
a
it.
strong believer in seeking help, professional help.
Yeah.
So there are child therapists you can talk to. Children
At
also
what
want
point
to.
is child therapy? Do you bring it in?
At all points, when you see that something is out of your hands, you're not able to deal with it as a parent, then you seek external help. The other thing I believe that works is having another parent outside you and your spouse that the children feel they look up to, they can talk to, an uncle and aunt
That you trust.
good
that you
parent.
trust and that they trust as
A good
children.
parent, an uncle,
A
an
good
aunt.
parent. It's important to have that other person they can run to,
Non-biased.
non-biased person that
Okay,
they
biased, but not
Yeah.
emotional.
a safe space.
Not emotionally linked like you.
yeah.
Because I think for us, especially moms, the emotional factor tends to come in.
Yeah.
So many times, like I'll punish, and then, for example, my husband will come back and be like, okay, that was a lot though. I mean,
Yeah.
usually my first reaction is, this one is not a team player.
I know, of course.
Oh, you're not a team player. What do you mean? It's like, but it was emotional.
Yeah.
Why didn't you first calm down and then deal with it when you're calm? Then I'm
And that's
like,
when he
oh.
plays the good cop
Yeah.
and repairs.
Mm.
But I've heard that it's also important to repair after punishing the children.
Yeah.
But our parents used to do that in a way, that bribery that you talked about.
Yeah.
Because I remember so many times mommy would chap her, and then like an hour later when you've cried, you've what, she's jazzing very normally, calling you, come to tea. Then you'll find that you who they beat, maybe you have something, a little nice extra something. Maybe they used to repair in their own way. Okay.
And like now for me, my siblings, the closest sibling to my dad, his BFF growing up, was the only one he beat. The rest of us, he didn't beat us. But we feared him the most.
There's something that they say about men having an authority from God that they can speak into their children and also command something in them and they'll listen.
Yeah.
Apart from us, outside of the fear, I
Must
haven't
be a science.
explored
There must
that.
be a science
Yeah.
there.
I haven't
Maybe it's the
explored
depth
that.
of their voice
I
that
think
they
so.
command power.
Have you seen those videos where like a dad talks to a baby and says, just stop? And the mom has been saying, no, what? The baby, stop. I've seen those and I've seen them linked to the divine, I don't know what to call it, something from God, that men are able to just command a child into something from just speaking.
There must be a science behind it as well. Yeah. That we
Yeah.
should explore further.
Also, now another thing that I used to see moms doing for children who are considered errant. Mwana yanyononekako church. You know, you've heard of stories where a mom picks a child and takes them to a church and leaves them there. Also, there are extremes. I know someone who picked their child. Okay, that one was linked to something else. Picked a child and took to a shrine
Oh.
and left
So
them.
what?
To the blood of Jesus.
What was that? What was the
I
shrine
think
meant to
it's the
do?
same like belief system, like how you believe that. So I think
Okay.
it was their
Okay.
belief system.
Okay.
Although I think there was something else also behind
Okay.
that. Or sometimes I've been told these people ask for a child, or I don't know. I don't want to get into that anyway. But I'm curious about that. There's someone who was holding a mother's prayer, and she said that part of her discipline was the mom kneeling down with her together,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
praying over
Speaking
that
into your
child,
children, that is
speaking into
one
that child.
key tool
Yeah.
as parents, as mothers.
So we haven't touched on that, and I feel like it's
Speaking
really
life
important.
into your
Even going
children.
back to God who created this child, who gave you this child, and saying, God, you gave me this child, but I feel like I'm failing them. Help me to see
Yeah.
how to reach them. Yeah.
So for parents that need their kids in, like, kids are in school most of the time, like most of the day they're in school. What kind of discipline do you think is best for them? Because first went schools where we've been to both. I've been to both schools where they beat and schools they don't beat. And the schools
like
that
they're
they
going
beat,
to a
there's
school where
rebel kids in both schools.
Yeah. I think know your child.
No, now this is that you're sending your kid to school. What do you think the teachers need? What best disciplining methods should teachers take on?
I genuinely, because teachers disciplined us so harshly, I feel like someone who doesn't have an emotional link to your child shouldn't be disciplining them.
Yeah.
I feel like nothing physical, honestly. Because now for us, we went through the extreme. Man, we were beaten. I went to a school where sometimes they'd even walk in and say, today we are going to mark this test. For every number you failed, you're getting beaten. Then I remember
Did you perform better the next
one time. I mean, honestly, I can't speak into that because for me, I was a child who wanted to perform well, not for myself, for my parents.
Yeah.
So for me, my core, without even having the teachers coming in to discipline me, it was always a thing in me of I wanted to please my parents. I was a goody two shoes. I'm a goody two shoes. I can't speak on that. But what I can say is when I sit down now and I think about how much we were beaten and punished at school, sometimes even this hard method where they would say, this class has been making noise, all of you are going to be beaten. Those of us who are goody two shoes and were quiet in the class would get beaten. I mean, Kitante, there was a time when I will never forget, we were in P2 and this teacher walked in. Now in Kitante, there was the class, there were the desks, then on the sides, there was like a windowsill, and then people used to put like bags under or stuff. So there was like a place under, like there was a ledge and then a place under. I remember this one time clearly where I didn't even know what was happening. This teacher came in and just started caning and telling us, move to the side, move
P2.
under. Yes. And we moved under. And while we were under, those people, that thing even makes me emotional. While we were under crouching there, this person was coming with chiboko, with a cane, just beating randomly. And I remember they hit a finger and that finger was black that whole time. So badly, like it clotted and then the nail eventually. But I'll never forget that thing. I never understood why we were being beaten. Then we're being
P2 is
beaten
8
like
years old.
animals. P2. We're being beaten like animals. So for me, I feel like a teacher, if you're punishing, time out.
Or report to the
Come
parents.
to me at the end of the day if it has been too much and it can't wait. Come, have a conversation with me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I do not want my children to be treated like animals.
No one wants that.
No.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants that.
So someone who's not emotionally regulated, I don't know how you are, what you're dealing with. I don't need you being the one being physical with my child. Time out. have a conversation, send to the principal's office, call me, if need be, suspend, no problem.
Yeah.
Even if I don't believe why you've suspended, if you as the school have decided that that is the action you need to take for my child, fine. I'm going to take time with my child to find out what happened and investigate. After all, they are now home with me. I'm going to investigate on my own and find out.
And the thing is, some teachers back in the day, many teachers, even up to now, I don't know, if people have the tools to deal with children who are neurodivergent.
Yeah.
They were
Even in the
never- they were
workplace,
never-
We didn't know about it.
people
They
don't
didn't
know
know
how to
about
deal with
that.
children,
And this thing
staff who are
of you couldn't
neurodivergent.
write like the rest, you couldn't read well like the rest, you were
Dyslexia,
stupid.
all those ones. We don't
You
know
were
them. We
stupid,
didn't
or
know
you
them.
were a failing student. Therefore, you were moved into a stream where all those students were deemed unfit for education. You were given special attention because that is the class. And even at a very young age, we all knew that class, that if they take you to that stream, you're in the category of
Yeah.
So for
So,
me,
I
my
love
thing,
that you've
Your
touched
parting
on
shot.
that.
my parting shot is for the schools to educate themselves, train their teachers on how to deal with neurodivergent children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can they train? Do they have the capacity, the resources? Another thing that I've seen schools do is they have a therapist in the school
Yeah.
where when a teacher is not understanding,
The child psychologist comes
steps in. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also for parents, this education system, this education that our children are getting is not the only thing they need. You're there in their lives so that you can also add to that, add the extras. There's something that you said once when we were chatting that, man, this can't be the be all and end all. At some point, you can also, whatever you feel is missing. So it's the same thing. If you're called in and your child has been acting up, you're told it's not for the teachers to handle
Yeah.
only.
Don't
Step
delegate
in.
punishment to the
Yeah,
teachers.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I know every generation wants to do better, but we don't know what better is. We are
We're all
still trying to figure
learning.
it out. So we can only pray and hope that parents figure out how to discipline their children by themselves.
And know your
fast.
children. Another thing we forgot, know your child. Me who has 4, they're all different.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Share your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section. We'd like to hear from you and see you next time.